Well, I didn't like the way the last one ended, so I think I'm going to try and bring it together. I started the last excerpt with the vehicle of expression, and I hinted at how this elder is entering into a new threshold of his life, one of retirement. And he brings this book up. Everything is a secret confession as to, what's going on inside of a person. And I think it's pretty clear that he had a very strong vehicle of expression he was used to and accustomed to that conditioned him. And now he's entering into a new threshold in his life, and he's reaching out in a very functional way, very productive way to try to express his energies, but the energies are outmoded. When we come through a threshold, the way we were has completed itself, hopefully, and whatever loose ends, frayed ends there are, need to be brought back together to form the beginning threads of the next path, the next level. And I think I may be playing a role, I may be playing a part where I help him to bring together those frayed ends in such a way as for further productivity in the next level of his development. Um, it's not that simple because I'm his junior, he's my senior, and there's much for me to learn as well. Everything's happening simultaneously. But the destabilization of the mind that occurs is something that I uh, am accustomed to, in that I've rather surrendered to it and allow those short term uncomfortable states to be lived through, and allow something to arise in me to bring unity and order to it. And I think this is what I have to offer for this particular individual. But I have to be very careful in how I introduce this transcendence, this thing in itself, because he has so many decades of fixed and steadfast categories of thought as to what is of value and what is not, what is superior and inferior, what is right and wrong, that he brings them up. Everything is a test. Everything's a secret confession. They come up, he talks about it, and I go, okay, well, this is how, this is how we are now to interpret it. This is how we are now to interpret it. Everything over and over. All these old values are coming up that no longer have value. When you get to that point where all is one, then everything affirms everything else. Everything is affirmative. It's not negatory. It's our darkest night. Our brightest light arises out of our darkest night. So the most darkest aspects of what we think are evil and wrong and bad actually affirm the good. They inspire us to do good. And this can seem futile, and we want to go backwards into thinking practical tasks, practical aims. This is progress. This is progress. But there is a level for some people where they reach beyond that to the transcendent realm. However, that transcendent realm, if it is conditioned by our categories of thought from a previous level of development, will become limited, fixed and set fast in time, and it will not be living, growing, and changing. I can see this. I understand it. I'm living it all the time with people. It's my experience. Where they come to me and they say, okay, I've got these frayed ends, these values that no longer work for me. And I've got to, and then they present them to me, and I go, well, have you thought of it this way? Have you thought of it that way? It's all in the presentation. It's not what you got, but what you do with it. And it's not so much what you do as how you do it for it to be effective. And I've seen a few people who've gone to that transcendent realm, and they don't want to get caught up in any of this stuff. They want to keep going to the transcendent. But I really enjoy the concept of Joseph Campbell, where the hero returns. They go to that yonder shore, and you return for the affirmation of life. However, it's different. Life is totally different and changed. I'm reminded of the return to paradise. That that realm in which we see the thing in itself everywhere. It's no longer separated in time, but all one, all part of the unity. It's very humbling to think about that I'm presented with these really tremendous individuals in my life. And, they're all tremendous. The things they show me, the things I observe, the things I see and experience through them. It's very humbling to think that they want to share that with me, and that they think that I've got something to offer. And I usually do. But it's not a bottom line answer. It's transcendent. But in such a way as to have an effectively productive cultivation of expressions of our energies. And there are all different kinds of levels of people being engaged in the world. And I'll be the first to admit that I don't have the greatest engagement in the world. However, I've realized for myself that I'm engaged in what is presented to me as fully as I can be. And I see a lot going on in my life that brings an equality to somebody who, say, is the master of business or the head of a religion, or, the best at an economic system. But I don't have a lot of tolerance for those that are so caught up in the world that they don't see the consequences of their actions. I'm immediately drawn to wanting to take them deeper, take them deeper, take them deeper. And I got to be careful about that, because that's my natural bent. I'm naturally bent to go that way. And people are just fine doing what they're doing if they're not hurting anybody. Anyway.